Hey everybody, Adam here for True North Wilds. I am back from my break with a new playlist. This is the Gear Check. Today, I want to talk about the Shrade SCHF28, otherwise known as the Little Ricky. This is currently one of my favorite tools. I'll say that right off the bat. It measures 14 inches from end to end. The weight on it is listed as 1.3 pounds. It feels heavier, but in a good way. It has a titanium coated high carbon steel of whatever type. I don't really care what kind of steel it is. I care that it does the job that I bought it for. It has a rubber handle of just a phenomenal material. Whatever type of rubber it is so grippy, it is so comfortable. It has the finger grooves on it. It also can be swapped out if you want to. You can easily just pop these 3 screws out and put on your own handle of your choice, but I would not trade this for anything. I love this material that they used. I'll get into that in a little bit. I bought this because I wanted something that was going to be a good chopper, something that I could basically replace a hatchet with. Basically I wanted a machete, only small and more compact, and that's exactly what this is. We put this to the test last summer. Neil and I went out and built a hunting tree stand in the bush on my property. We had to clear our way there, and then we had to trim up branches on the tree, clear out an area to build our platform, all that sort of thing, clear a line of fire so we had sight for shooting, all that sort of stuff. And this is what we primarily used to do that in order to really put this through its paces. It worked. I mean, it did exactly what I wanted. It was comfortable and easy to use. It's nice and compact. It's small enough that you can climb a tree with it and really get in there and get tight and still be able to chop with it. It's still got the weight that, even for its size and its compactness, and if you're in tight spaces, it's got a really good cutting curve for the shape. So you can slice through stuff if it's thin. You don't need a lot of space. You don't need a lot of wind up, and you can chop through stuff very easily. Down on the ground, clearing the underbrush. We were down clearing out all, I don't know what type of brush it is. It's mostly about 1 inch thick, and we were down near the ground. So we're hammering this through the branches and through the roots and into the ground, and we're digging the roots up out of the ground. We're hitting rocks, we're hitting the dirt, we're hitting grass, clearing all this stuff, not holding back, because it's a tool, and it's a tool made for a job, and we used it for that job, but we didn't hold back. It was about 6 hours worth of working time, not consistently chopping for 6 hours, but about 6 hours of time that we were primarily using this as our clearing and chopping tool. Did not let us down once. It was super easy to use. I really have no complaints about this. There is very little bad that I can say about this knife. If I was to recommend a camp tool, this would be really high on my list right now, if not at the top. This is not a knife that I would carry on my belt. It's heavy. It is, big for a knife. It's not a belt knife that I would carry around, but going into camp, it's something I would leave at camp for cutting firewood, getting a fire started, using it as a general camp tool. And anything that I would normally use a hatchet or a machete for, I would easily replace those tools with this and use this instead. I brought it back to the yard after working with it, did a few other quick little demonstrations, stabbed it into a stump, did some prying. We had been doing that in the dirt, digging out roots and stuff already, so I knew that wouldn't be an issue, and it wasn't. Did some batoning, so I chopped into a log, hit it down with a stick, no issues there. It held up fine, it split the log just fine. Did some carving, so I carved out some strips of kindling off another piece of wood. You can make a feather stick to get your campfire started. No issues there, cutting. The edge held up even after all the chopping we had done. There was no problems doing any of that carving, feathering whatsoever. Lastly, after all of that, after the carving, after all the chopping, after the digging, after smashing this through the dirt, after cutting oak branches, which is a hardwood, chopping for about 6 hours with this thing, took it, did some slice tests on the rope. You can see that the one rope slices really easy. slice, slice, slice. The nylon rope, the braided, the 3-braid nylon rope, not so much. Could not get a good slice through that. Had to really saw at that. So that was a bit of a disappointment. But for any of your normal ropes that you'll be using around camp, camp cord, paracord, that sort of stuff, that material, right through, no problem, even after all the other tests. The edge held up perfectly fine. I have the tiniest little dings on the front corner here, very small. I haven't actually resharpened this yet, haven't had the need, so it held the edge really well. No damage, the point has no damage. One little bit of damage. I don't know if I did this while I was out in the bush or during one of the tests or when I was batoning it, but some of the rubber at the end, I did catch it with something, and so that started to peel up. I don't feel like that is really going to hinder anything. It's not in the area that I would be gripping it. It doesn't impede my grip in any way, and I think a drop or two of super glue will probably fix that right up. So that's the only damage of note out of all the abuse that I put it through. Comes with a really sturdy sheath, nice hard thick plastic, solid, it's not thin. Fits really nice. It's a nice little snap fit. It's got the Velcro wrap around it. That feels a little cheap, and it's frayed up really good already, just a little bit that I've used it. The Velcro is actually coming off already, but the snap fit on it is pretty firm, and in and out, nice and easy. It's got all the different tie points. You can tie it onto your to whatever that you want. It's got the spot for the lanyard if you want to put a lanyard on it. All in all, really happy with this purchase. I would recommend this to somebody looking for a workhorse of a tool around camp. Cutting firewood, using it as a general tool. Cutting is not its strong point, but it does perfectly well at that. Chopping is its strong point. Splitting wood, prying, if it really comes down to it, you got the weight here. You can use it as a hammer. You can throw it around. You can hit things with it. You can hit it with other things. You're not going to hurt it. This is going to last me a long time, I think, even with the amount of abuse that I put it through. So I would recommend you go and pick one of these up. If you like this video, if you find it informative, please don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons down there. I really appreciate it. It helps me out a lot for the channel. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you think, if you've used these or if you have used tools similar to this, and your thoughts on them. Thanks for watching, as always, and until next time, I'll see you outside.